Gen X. You survived dial-up, grunge, and 3 recessions. You watched your dad get the golden watch and lay off in the same year. You've been independent since you were 12, making your own snacks while the corporate world worked late. So why? Why are you still sitting in a cubicle? Listen to a manager in a polo shirt telling you, deciding if you're strategic enough to keep your job. You have the resources, you have the network, you have the keys. You've had them since you were 12. So let's see how you can use them. Good day, everyone. Back for another episode. Today we're going to talk about how 6 ways of transition from corporate life to your own future, own path. Again, another presentation by PowerPoint because that's the way I seem to be doing it lately. So, still on the learning curve. We will turn this up right now. And from the beginning. All right. Latchkey Executive, how Gen X is building professional tribes without bosses. Number 1, fractional executive portfolio career. Psychology, identify decoupling and control restoration. Gen X built identities around professional competence. I'm a VP of operations. But corporate restructuring taught them that identity can be stripped overnight. And it can. You can lose your job for no reason at all. Restructuring. Fractional work lets you keep the competence, which validates self-worth, while shedding the dependency, which threatened its psychology. Multiple clients create a sense of agency. You're not begging one employment for security. You're choosing who deserves your expertise. This addresses the deep Gen X wound of watching parental layoffs and institutional betrayal. So basically what I get out of that is if you have options or choices, you have options. More sources of income is better than just one. It is a abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. The abundance mindset means there's lots. If you have lots of options, and your anxiety and stress is going to be down. But if you're only relying on the one source of income, the one option, then you're going to be scared and worried about losing it. I mean, that shouldn't. I mean, it kind of does affect your work over time. You get kind of burnt out and stuff like that, and jump through hoops, etc. But if you're kind of a freelance consultant in your special area of your work expertise of work, then I think you're more apt to flow and be in your own mind when you're conducting your work. Like specializing in something as a subject matter expert makes you more valuable if you're not attached to one certain corporation or one group. Kind of be freelance. Sell yourself out that way. Now, having said that, you can start out in the corporate world and build your expertise up on something. But, I've said this before, by the time you're 40, between 40 and 50, you should be specialized be a subject matter expert in something and offer it to, different companies in your industry. It's as easy as that. Well-rounded, versatile. It all works out better. You're not stuck to some middle management job, kissing your boss's butt type thing, right? Number 2, acquire, don't start. Psychology, risk aversion meets legacy anxiety. Gen X is hitting an age where they feel mortality pressing. Is this all there is? It's got to be more to life than just work, right? But they're also pragmatic realists who've seen too many startups fail. Buying an existing business satisfies the needs for a tangible legacy, building something your own, while respecting their cognitive bias towards loss aversion. Starting from zero feels reckless at 48. Optimizing an existing system feels like applied wisdom. It's also It also bypasses the ego trap of founder identity. You're a steward, not a gambler. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is, at our age, our generation, Gen X, rather than starting from scratch, which you could do, there's no reason why you can't. But if you have a certain anxiety of, time, it's probably best to, take over something that's already been started, it's already been established. You can pick up something and transform it into your own thing. An example, my cousin, he kind of retired from his other business or whatever, and he ended up buying a resort in Belize. Now it's a little bit run down, needed some work, needs some elbow grease, some sweat labor, as it were. Anyway, he bought this resort and kind of redesigned it, put his own name on it, and it became his. It was already established. It already had clientele. He wasn't starting from scratch. It had a reputation already, and he just built on that. And he changed it enough that it went from the old resort to his resort. You see a lot of people do that too, I think, with franchises, right? A lot of people will get into the franchising. Still gives them a sense of, self-dependence, but they're still under a corporate umbrella of some sort. For example, coffee shop Tim Hortons. You buy Tim Hortons, you got to play by their rules. It's their sandbox, but you're still, kind of free and on your own to some degree. But you still got to follow their guidelines. Some people like that. No, optimizing the existence, it also bypasses the ego trap. Yeah, so like when you're younger, say you're in your 20s and you decide to start from scratch, that's fine. You got kind of lots of runway to make the mistakes and, restart and learn and stuff like that. But acquiring something that's already established takes all that kind of work out of it. And you're just building and creating your own version of what that thing already is. That's it. Pretty easy. Convert your network into a partnership collective. The psychology. Belonging without subordination. Corporate life provided community, but demanded hierarchy. Gen X experienced enough toxic bosses and pointless politics to crave connection without submission. Oh, the office politics. I'm sure you all know about that. A peer collective satisfies the fundamental need for belonging. Isolation is psychologically devastating. While preventing autonomy, it mirrors latchkey childhood experience. Self-sufficient, but checking in with your crew. The structure also distributes psychological risk. Failure is shared, success is celebrated. Well, shared in that you can talk about it without too much shame. Communally, avoiding the loneliness that drives many independents back to a corporate job. So you basically build a network of like-minded individuals who are kind of on the same path. And they can appreciate your efforts. They can appreciate your failures. Kind of community support. Can bounce ideas off of. And you don't have to, you're not subordinate to anyone. You're still on your own path, right? It just makes sense. Number 4, location, arbitrage, and remote consulting. Ooh, consulting. Psychology, cognitive dissonance resolutions, and status recalibration. Many Gen Xers feel trapped by the lifestyle they created, mortgage, private school, keeping up with the Joneses, while internally questioning if it is bringing happiness. Geographic arbitrage forces a values clarification. When you strip away the signaling cost of your zip code, you discover what you actually need versus what you perform for others. The psychological relief is immense. You are no longer paying a status tax to remain an identity that was exhausting to you. It also leveraged the Gen X adaptability muscle. This generation learned to pivot as industries changed. Adapt and overcome. Keep saying it. And if you're living in a neighborhood where it's costing you too much money, around people you don't really care about, is it worth it? Like, what's your happiness worth? You want to keep up with the Joneses, or do you want to find your path and success and be creative? The way I see that is like all that, like the status and the living in the uppity neighborhood just to keep up with people and have some sort of perceived status. It takes away from your creativity. It takes away from your drive, right? And it keeps you locked into that corporate life, because you're going to want the next best big thing because buddy down the street got something. Number 5, build a content authority engine. Psychology. Generativity versus stagnation. Erikson's stage. Erik Erikson identified middle age as the battlefield between generativity, creating, teaching, contributing to the next generation, and stagnation. Feeling like your impact ends with your job title. Oh, there's a lot of people like that. They only identify with their job title. I know a couple guys that been at work with, like, if they retire, that's it, man. They have nothing left. Like, their job is their life. That's kind of sad, because a few of these guys are like, their retirement, they should have retired 10 years ago, but they can't because their job is their identity. Teaching, coaching, content creation directly addresses the developmental crisis. It converts your accumulated, crystallized intelligence, pattern recognition, and wisdom into value without the physical energy demands of execution work. Psychologically, it validates that your suffering and lessons weren't wasted. They become curriculum that lets others navigate what you survived. It kind of gets back to the other point where, rather than starting new, you just take something over, right? If you can pass on your knowledge and wisdom to younger people, the next generation's coming up, whether they listen or not, because in my experience, those young guys really don't listen. They have to go through their trials and tribulations to figure stuff out to come up to the same conclusion. Can't say that I was any different. It is what it is, right? But you can try. Number 6, the sabbatical to slow business bridge. Psychology. Uncertainty, tolerance, graduation. Gen X has enough life experience to know that ambiguity, why can't I talk? Ambiguity, that word is survivable. But oh man, you know what? This research I'm doing, I gotta kind of dumb these words down. I can't even pronounce them. But the amygdala fear center still screams when you abandon a paycheck. The bridge approach is behavioral psychology in action. You're using exposure therapy on yourself, gradually proving to your nervous system that independence won't kill you. It also prevents the identity collapse that comes from sudden unemployment. You're not unemployed, which carries shame. You're on a sabbatical, which signals intention. This preserves ego, integrity, while you rebuild your self-concept around something more durable than a corporate title. To be perfectly honest, I don't mind unemployed. I think when I get to the point when I'm retired or no longer at a corporate job, I am going to say I am unemployed. I don't know. Maybe it's just the provocateur in me. Maybe just people will ask more questions. I don't know. I'm not going to necessarily tell them what I'm doing. Maybe I will. I don't know. It depends who it is. But I'm going to start off as unemployed when they ask what I do for a job. Just unemployed. Then when they ask me what I really do, I'll tell them what I really do. Oh, the company doesn't love you back. Eject the tape. A Gen X exit strategy. So you rerun the tape enough times, you know how corporate movie ends. Your parents already watched the director's cut in '92. Spoiler alert, the company doesn't love you back. Here's your mixed tape for an exit. Side one, you've got your fractional hustle and your acquired boring business. Pragmatic plays that would make Gordon Gekko roll his eyes, but your bank account is finally smiling. Side B, your crew and fellow latchkey refugees, your geographic arbitrage escape plan, and your wisdom turned content empire that provides you didn't survive 3 recessions for nothing. The beauty, nobody comes home at 6 to check your homework. You've got the keys. You've had them since you were 12, making your own snacks and programming the VCR while the corporate world worked late. The house is yours now. Build something that actually fits. No approval needed, no memos required, no performance review. You get no bonus though, right? Except the one that gives yourself when you look in the mirror and finally recognize who's looking back. Yourself, right? Now go and choose your adventure. The sequel's always better when you write it yourself. And I agree. Stop sharing. All right. Well, that's a fairly quick one. I like these six ways to do stuff type format in the PowerPoint stuff. You know, I'm not quite versed on speaking to the camera yet, so the PowerPoint kind of helps. I do have to, you know, proof my presentations a bit better and figure out these words that I can't pronounce because they're like really big words. I don't think we need the big words. We could probably dumb it down a little bit. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I think some good stuff in there. It makes a lot of sense. Just got to start applying those philosophies or ideas or whatever and get yourself ready to punch out. Anyway, that's all I got for today. If you made it with me this far, thank you. And we'll see you in the next episode.